I'm getting the phone calls, I'm getting to this, yo, Bonds, yo, man, yo, how 50 get, blah, 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 yo, Puff, take this self doing that. Let me explain something to y'all. First of all, he only deal with young videographers because he want to rob them, and he know that they want the opportunity to follow Puff Daddy, P. Diddy. They want that opportunity. So they get him at a low price anyway. But when you stay out so many hours a day, Puff wants a videographer with him 24 hours a day on call. Whether we on a yacht, whether we on a ship, wherever we at, he wants to videotape that, right? So now, they come to agreement. They come to whatever the pay is going to be. But then it be so many hours on that invoice that he don't want to pay. He gets in touch with the office. He gets in touch with the chief of staff. Yo, what is this I'm paying? What is this I'm paying? You know what you paying. You was outside all of these hours. It's 160 something hours in a week. You was outside 140. That's the invoice he put in. So now, being if you got a contract and he don't stand to that contract, guess what happens? He could do whatever he want to do with that footage. So now that footage goes to the highest bidder. And 50 had to be the highest bidder.
Let me tell you something right now. The walls of this industry are shaking. The floors of this industry are cracking. And the people who spent decades protecting Diddy are finally telling the truth. And the first shockwave came from the person nobody expected. Roger Bonds, the same man who used to stand next to Diddy, the same man who was loyal to Diddy, the same man who was willing to throw away his entire future to protect Diddy's empire. He is now speaking. And baby, he is telling everything. People kept asking why he didn't swing on Diddy, why he didn't stop Diddy, why he stayed around, why he didn't expose him earlier. But you know what? For the first time in this entire situation, someone finally told the truth from inside that circle. Roger Bonds said it clear. He said the quiet part out loud. Diddy only kept him around because he could put in work, because he was willing to be a soldier, because he was willing to be loyal, because he wanted to take care of his family, because he wanted a better life after prison, and because everyone around Diddy was expected to serve him, worship him, protect him, and never challenge him. So the first truth bomb is this. People didn't stay around because they were evil. People didn't stay because they enjoyed the chaos. A lot of these people stayed because they were trapped spiritually, financially, contractually, emotionally. And some of them stayed out of fear. And if you've ever been broke, if you've ever had a family depending on you, if you've ever had everything riding on one opportunity, then you know exactly why some people put their morals in their back pocket and said yes when they should have said no. Now let me slow it down. Because what Roger Bonds said next sent chills down my spine. He said when he first started working with Puff, one of the Rough Riders generals pulled him aside and warned him. He said, that mentality you have right now, that street energy, that guerrilla mindset, that pride, that ego, that toughness, Puff will not tolerate it. Puff will use you. But if you ever direct that energy toward him, he will push you out, cut you off, and destroy you. Imagine entering a job and being told on day one, don't you ever stand up to your boss. Don't you ever challenge him. Don't you ever question him. Don't you ever show strength toward him. That's not a job. That's a cult. And Roger Bonds admitted it. He wasn't perfect. He wasn't righteous. He wasn't trying to be a savior back then. He was trying to stay out of jail. He was trying to feed his family. He was trying to survive. And he said something that hit deep. He said he listened. That's why he lasted so long. Because the entire system Diddy built was designed around one thing, his power. Now let's get into the next layer. Because this is where it gets dark. Roger Bonds said something that every person who worked for Diddy already knew. Diddy never paid people what he owed them. He never honored contracts. He never respected invoices. And he used young, hungry people who wanted an opportunity so badly that they accepted crumbs. You know what that is? That's exploitation. And Roger Bonds said Diddy used to keep videographers running 24 hours a day, not 8 hours, not 12 hours. 24 hours. Every yacht, every trip, every room, every club, every hallway. Everything was to be filmed. But when the invoices rolled in, Diddy would panic. Diddy would call the office screaming, "What is this? What am I paying? Why do I owe this?" And when he decided he didn't want to pay, he would simply refuse. And the moment you break the agreement, every contract becomes void. You lose rights. You lose ownership. You lose control. And guess what? Whoever has the footage sells to the highest bidder. And who was the highest bidder? 50 Cent. Of course he was. He doesn't play. He doesn't care. And he knows a storyline when he sees one. So let's talk about this false rumor going around. The one Diddy's team is trying to push. They're saying the footage was stolen, illegally obtained, leaked without permission. But if that was true, where is the lawsuit? Where is the emergency injunction? Where is the cease and desist? Where is the federal complaint? Where is the legal team that used to shut down everything instantly? Nowhere. Because Diddy doesn't own the footage. He never paid for it. He doesn't have the rights. He doesn't have the power. And he doesn't have the leverage. So the footage is out. And the truth is out. And the world is watching. Now, let me tell you something that people don't want to admit. Everyone ate off Diddy. Everyone loved the access, the fame, the money, the proximity, the lifestyle. And when victims spoke up, when Cassie testified, when survivors walked into that courtroom, shaking and trembling and terrified, when they had to describe things no human being should ever experience, what did the world do? Laughed, mocked, dismissed, called them liars, said they were looking for money, said they were clout chasers, said they should be grateful they survived. Isn't that sick? Isn't that spiritual warfare? Isn't that the darkness of this industry in its purest form? Roger Bond said something powerful. He said, when you stand up for truth, you don't get rewarded, you get punished. And that's why people stay silent. Because standing for truth doesn't give you safety, it gives you enemies. Look through history. Martin Luther King was labeled a terrorist. The Black Panthers were targeted and demonized. Anyone who stands against a system becomes the enemy of the system. And what is Diddy? A system, an empire, a machine built on fear, control, manipulation, and silence. Roger Bonds admitted he was part of the machine. He admitted he was corrupted. He admitted he enabled darkness. But he also admitted something else. He's done. He's repenting. He's exposing it all. And he wants the world to see how deep it goes. Because Diddy didn't just destroy the lives of women. He destroyed the lives of men, workers, staff, family, friends, anyone who came too close, anyone who trusted him, anyone who depended on him. Roger Bond said he stood beside Diddy for years. He fought for him, protected him, did his dirty work. And when his own son stood in court overseas, Diddy abandoned him, left him stranded, didn't lift a finger. That is who Diddy is. That is who he has always been. And that is why this documentary is so important. It's not just tea. It's not gossip. It's not entertainment. It's evidence. It's patterns. It's the truth. Now let's talk about the documentary itself. Because the reaction is wild. Celebrities are backpedaling. Industry friends are suddenly silent. Former collaborators are pretending they never knew him. People who partied with him for decades are suddenly shocked. Where was the shock when Cassie tried to leave? Where was the shock when Kim Porter died under questionable circumstances? Where was the shock when all these artists came forward with the same story? Overworked, underpaid, threatened, manipulated, used. Diddy's entire empire was a cult disguised as a record label. And the documentary proved what we already knew. And the industry knows it too. So let's talk about the truth Roger Bonds revealed about Diddy's operations. He would hire young videographers because they're desperate. He would hire young women because they're impressionable. He would hire people who came from nothing because he knew they would tolerate anything, accept anything, and obey anything. These are not accusations. These are patterns. Patterns that match every story from the past 20 years. Patterns that match every lawsuit, every whisper, every rumor, every victim's testimony. Now here's the part that shook me the most. Roger said this plainly. Everyone isn't loyal to the point of stupidity. Some people finally reach their limit, and that's exactly what happened. Diddy pushed and pushed and pushed until the people around him said enough. And baby, it is beautiful to see it crumble. Let me say this. If this documentary was truly illegal, the network would be sued, the producers would be sued, the distributors would be sued, but they aren't. Because this isn't illegal, it's the truth. And now the world finally sees it. Now insert your intro here. This is the 30-second mark. Welcome to the Messy Sweet Spot YouTube channel. This is where we break down the stories nobody else wants to touch and expose the truth they wish would stay hidden. Make sure you hit like, share this video, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. The party crashers are watching and we want to know how you feel. Continue script. Now let's bring this home. The documentary shows one thing. Diddy's entire empire was built on exploitation, financial exploitation, sexual exploitation, power exploitation, emotional exploitation, and the moment someone challenged him, he destroyed their career. Cassie tried to leave. He retaliated. Workers asked to be paid. He cut them off. Artists wanted freedom. He blacklisted them. Friends wanted respect. He humiliated them. And now that the truth has come out, the machine is falling apart. Slowly, painfully, publicly. And the people who once feared him are now standing up. Roger Bonds might not be perfect. But he did what the industry refused to do. He stood with the survivors. He stood with the truth. And he exposed the darkness. He said he's done protecting evil. He said he's done being silent. And whether you love him or hate him, he did what needed to be done. And let me tell you something. Every empire built on darkness eventually collapses. Every lie eventually reaches its limit. Every abuser eventually meets accountability. This is just the beginning. Outro for the Messy Sweet Spot. Thank you for watching the Messy Sweet Spot. Make sure you like this video, share it, and subscribe for the next breakdown. Leave your thoughts in the comments because the party crashers always have something to say. And trust me, we are not done with this story, not even close. I'll see you in the next video.